Greetings! This is another Sprocket video where I would like to show you some of my WW1 designs. So in my last video I expressed that driving around like a headless chicken in this sandbox area is probably less interesting than fighting in a scenario, but knowing that all of these vehicles are WW1 era vehicles, that means basically they are technologically practically non-existent. I'm not going to bother trying to win no tanks land, so yeah, that's kinda unfortunate. Anyways, let's start off with this ancient piece of shit. This was my first ever WW1 tank, the HGS EVH1, and it sucked. So what I did was I made the HGS EVH2. Now, what I did was I made this as an upgrade. So let's just say that the EVH2 was the HGS 100-1-1, and this is the second version of it, so HGS 100-1-2. But that meant that there was no -1 that was actually improved on. So what I did was I looked back at this and thought it would be nice if I actually had an improved version of this, and that's how this was born. But wait, there's more. Of course, this one does look a lot like this, but a bit longer, so I took that and made a second version as well. So this became this, and this one is this version in reality. So this whole history lesson is kind of confusing, but it does make some sense if you are drunk and a bit high and have impaired intelligence. But there's some logic behind the scenes. Not much, but there is some. So with that history lesson out of the way, let me show you this thing's characteristics. No armor at all. Alright, let's move on. The mobility is actually quite nice. It's longer, thus heavier than the first version of it, which means that it's less mobile. But that also means that it can actually cross trenches, unlike its first version. And it has some hitbox issues, like as you can see, the aiming cross actually bumps into a hitbox, and when I fire you can see that there's a hole on the backside of my turret, which is interesting. It's rather unexpected, but yeah, it's kind of a bug to work around. But other than that, this thing is completely battle proven and completely battle capable. It actually has completed no tanks land twice while I was doing some tests. And how it performs? Not well. Of course, it's a WW1 technology, so it's slow, it's immobile, and it's shit. The 20mm anti-tank rifle is quite shit. It fires rather quickly, but that's because of Sprocket logic, and I made the loader, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 cubic meters big. So yes, that's something. And it has 2 guns that move simultaneously, so yeah, that's kind of cool, but only the 20mm gun works. What I changed on the second version's design is this whole front and rear. Really, that's all I changed, and that change required me to build a new vehicle from scratch, and actually this second version was improved first, and I made it shorter to make the first version. So yes, it's basically a history version of spaghetti. Like you can't really see where something begins or something ends, but once you take a closer look, it's quite delicious. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of food because I'm hungry. Anyways, this is the HGS-100 series of tanks. They don't make any sense, so don't look for any meaning. So yes, this was the HGS-100-1-2. And as for the following subjects, there's more history lessons to be learned here. So, long story short, I'm on a Discord server when one dude randomly messaged me. We became kind of friends, kind of buddies, something along the lines of that. And that dude had an idea. What about a custom world with a map, nations and everything, where the nations battle each other? The whole project is basically dead at this point, but whatever. That dude basically made me work on World War I tanks, which is an achievement in itself because I would have never done that otherwise. So for that world, I made a tractor. You probably know where this is going, but yeah, this is just a tractor. It's nothing more, nothing less, just something that is used for agricultural use. Unless the military adopts the tractor. So yes, this is a World War I battle tractor with a gun. That's quite an insane thing to think about. I don't even know how I even came up with the idea to begin with, but this thing is insane. Not performance wise, it just looks cool. It's basically a glorified paperweight. It's useless. That's all I'm trying to say. It has a 90mm gun with APHE because, of course, it's an artillery. So it's really useless in the context of real life World War I, but in the context of a made up world with made up nations battling with each other with made up vehicles, it's acceptable. But the thing with this one is it's slow. It has 5mm of all-around armor, which is quite pathetic, and compare that to the weight, so compare this size and armor layout to the weight. This thing is absolutely shit in terms of combat performance, so I made a lightweight version, which is actually canonically based on a different agricultural tractor, but whatever. So this thing doesn't have a 90mm gun, it actually has a 75mm gun, and this version of it actually fires armor piercing ammunition rather than the APHE the artillery tractor uses. Yeah, this one is actually more of a tank destroyer, the last one is a proper artillery, but whatever, doesn't really matter. Of course, this one has some interior design, quite minimalistic, because I just couldn't bother with making it good. Sorry about that, I was lazy. But I did make custom suspension, and this thing right here couldn't quite complete the no tanks land scenario, unlike the HGS-100-1-2, which could complete it twice. So yes, these things are quite shit in terms of performance, but they do look kinda nice, in my humble opinion. Totally not biased. But anyways, this would be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the dislike button. If not, hit the dislike button. If you want to, you can unsubscribe. And let me know in the comments what you thought about these abominations. Bye.